This document, what I'm said and just referring to, is a document that the government just put it on to the dockets yesterday. The first one, it's saying the court should preclude testimony from individual investors who claim not to be victims of the charged schemes. So this is very interesting, as you know that in the first 6 weeks, the defense team introduced 6 victims, right? So-called victims, adding up their all investment numbers that they claimed. And this number, 1.3 million, is actually already included those amounts that they have already got refund. Remember that a lot of the investors either fully got their refund or majority, a big part of their investment has already been refunded by the government. However, this fraud scheme that claimed by the government, the total is over 1 billion. So let's just use 1 billion, not worry about the numbers after the decimal. So if you do a quick calculation, all 6 victims, basically it's 0.0013. That means it's 0.13% of the investors that believed they are the victims. And the government is denying the 99.87% of people. Okay, so saying that this is actually it's 99.9987% of people's rights. Okay, so by actually saying that, they wanted precluding them claiming that they are not a victim. So I think it would be interesting to see the court ruling on this. I don't know where you can find in a investment opportunity that you can find this overwhelmingly majority people are happy. Well, I don't know how they can find a way to preclude all of us saying that we're not the victim of Miles Guo, we're a victim of the CCP. And the second point is the court should preclude, so the government argued the court should preclude the irrelevant and unduly prejudiced testimony of defense witness 1. Particular defense witness 1 had a very special encounter with the CCP police. So this was a investor back in, I think, 2021. He invested in GTV. 2020, he invested in GTV, and then, and after that, he was, experienced frequent harassment and surveillance by the Chinese police, and then the Chinese police harassed him, forced him to file a false complaint with SEC. Okay, and he had to do it in order to keep him and his family safe. Okay, and then later on he escaped, and he and his family escaped to the United States, and he brought so much evidence with him, and in these documents there are some taste of what he actually have, and these are the real receipts, but the government are seeking to preclude those evidence that actually can potentially pointing a collusion, okay, between the CCP and SEC. You see a box on the top of the documents. This is presumably this is a communication, an email that this witness received from Shanghai police. Basically the synopsis of the email or the conversation they had is, the Senate is now impeaching Trump. So in the context of the conversation, they're talking about American politics, okay? So they say the senator is now impeaching Trump. He could not even help himself. Biden would go into the office. The new government would be taking care of Guo Wengui, which is Miles Guo's Chinese name, and his gang very soon. So his gang is referring probably to the movement itself. And so now we must pick up the momentum and act. So it was to get the investment money back quickly. Okay, so you need to be more proactive. So this is the Chinese police way of pressuring this real investor of GTV to basically complain SEC and get his money back. Okay, the third point I want to show up is a very interesting person is going to come up, and I didn't anticipate it until I actually read this document this morning. And so this is the third bullet point that the court, so the government seeks to preclude defense witness George Higginbotham. Okay, and he is one of the agents of the CCP that participated in the repatriation schemes that happened in 2017, along with a few other very influential figures in the United States that targeted Miles Guo. So Miles Guo's defense teams, I guess, summoned him through a subpoena or whatever, asked him to testimony in this case. So, but then the government seeks to preclude some of his testimonies. Okay, so that's going to be very interesting because we're literally using a perpetrator, I could say this way, and because he pleaded guilty, right? He pleaded guilty, admitted to one account of bank fraud. He had a better deal with the DOJ at the time because he was a DOJ employee and he was a lawyer, attorney himself. So, so this is a very interesting. And the fourth one is the court seeking, the government seeking to preclude the defendant's experts from rendering any opinions regarding the testimonies of the government witnesses. So in this, what they're talking about is we're going to have Miles Guo's case has three experts testimonies. One of the expert testimony is from the cryptocurrency expert, and her name is Maggie Skler. And she was planning to basically maybe not commenting, but respond to the government testimonies given by two witnesses. If you recall, one is Jesse Brown, the former employee of Himalaya Exchange, regarding his understanding of cryptocurrency, and the other one is Samuel Roberts from the BitGo, who was the vendor of the Himalaya Exchange money. So that's the first one. So the last one is they're seeking to exclude irrelevant evidence regarding redemptions paid by the Himalaya Exchange.
The point is that the government was trying to portray that the investments or the purchase of H dollars into Himalaya Exchange was not redeemable, and therefore that they want to put on a claim as it is a financial scheme. However, the government also indicated in its own indictment against Mr. Guo, saying that since September 2022, the DOJ had already started a series of seizure actions against many of these entities, including bank accounts, and it was since then one of the Himalaya entities were impacted by the seizure notice, and so it was why one of the clearing bank accounts got seized by the DOJ, by the United States government, and it was starting from that point, the redemption function stopped, from Himalaya Exchange got stopped because of legal pressures from the government.
As I have said before, we are at the finish line of pretty much the trial, and we're gonna get to see some of the very essence of this case, and also another thing I would like to really point out is the fact that are we able to paint the full picture of the case itself, because I think a number of aspects that were brought up I think really can give us an idea of the arguments the defense's team is trying to make, and that is to really give the jury and everybody there the full and complete picture of what is going on, and most importantly, who is Miles. It's just the attacks he has been
adding
getting.
a quick note here. So we respect whatever the court decision is on this, but that doesn't mean that the Congress should rest on it. And I would highly recommend, if some of the things that the court agreed to preclude for not confusing the jury, I think the Congress should investigate, because this is a fight Americans and the Chinese people are in together, because we're go against the communist ideology. So I highly recommend the Congress pay attention to all the information, whether it's being introduced or not introduced. Keep going and dig in more, because